Welcome to The Kitchen Table, a show dedicated to helping you escape diet culture, gain trust with food, honor your body, and live a brighter life. Hello. Welcome back to The Kitchen Table. I'm your host, Alicia Brown, a non-diet dietitian, and today with me, I have here Sarah Subrize. She's a personal chef and food educator, and she's also like the most kindest and sweetest and most knowledgeable person that I know, like in my circles, about real home cooking. Because how many people like you and I feel such chaos about cooking? Inner chaos about like, oh my gosh, what food am I going to make tonight? What do I have to shop for? What am I going to cook for? Nothing sounds good. Nothing feels good. I don't have inspiration drawing from anywhere, right? You just feel like you hit these mind blanks, or like there's so many different things to think about with a meal. Like, oh, this person doesn't like this thing, or I'm kind of feeling like I want pizza, but they want this other thing. You know, there's so many layers to home cooking that have caused a lot of chaos, a lot of stress. And quite honestly, I think a lot of women, especially, I'm just going to say it, I think we feel pressure to really prepare quality home cooked meals often. And I think sometimes that stifles our creativity. It makes us feel like this pressure is just too much to deal with. We don't know how to find flow and ease in the cooking experience. And it also has taken some joy out of the experience too. So Sarah, she gets the life of a private chef, and she gets the life of a home cook, just like you and I, who battles a lot of the same struggles that you and I do. She battles this chaos on a daily basis, but she has the knowledge, skills, and personality truly to like pull us through to the other side. So Sarah, I just want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Alicia. I'm happy to be here.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Can you just let everyone know here with us about kind of like your background, your food philosophy, and like your current cooking style?
So my background is that I grew up cooking with my grandma, kind of the classic story of that. I struggled with weight issues growing up, so I wanted to go to a nutrition program. But when I was looking to the nutrition programs, I always saw that they missed the cooking component. So I chose to go to Johnson & Wales, and it had the culinary degree within the nutrition degree. So it's a dual program. I went there and learned all of the culinary master skills, along with all the basics of nutrition. And I was really planning to go on to become a dietitian, but that didn't work out. I just was kind of called to keep cooking. I started cooking in people's homes, working with dietitians, and cooking for different clients for different eating styles. Then it kind of stuck, and I continued education with cooking for illness, because that was really what my passion was at the time. And now I really just want to help people get back in the kitchen, take the chaos out of cooking, really have fun in the kitchen and not make it have so much pressure with it. So that's where I am today. I do a lot of private chefing in people's homes. I'll help with their meal prep, but I'm also launching my own food blog and getting into, different recipe development things and very exciting stuff.
Oh yeah. And you'll keep me on the loop on all of that excitement, because I can't wait to see all of what unfolds.
Yes.
Because look, we all need some food prep education. One thing that I know a lot of us are doing to try to like simplify this whole process is turn to meal plans or like food subscriptions. So maybe we're ordering like Chop or HelloFresh or some of these meal services, right? That they deliver it to our door, and it seems pretty simple and easy. We just put it together. I want to know your thoughts on those. And I also want to know your thought on like these meal plans that just detail out, okay, Monday pork chops, Tuesday tacos, it just has it all lined up for us. Pre-made, pre-generated, probably healthy and diet friendly, quote unquote, probably a little bit restrictive. I don't know. I'm just thinking. So what do you think about like food subscriptions and meal plans? Do you think they work? Why or why not?
So I guess I'll talk first on food subscriptions. I think, they have their place. If that works for you and you find that the meals fill you up, satiate you, and like fulfill your needs for a couple nights of the week, great. It does get you, I know a lot of them have like the hands-on component where it's kind of halfway homemade of some things are chopped and then you are able to cook the rest. If that works for you, great. I think one thing I love to talk to people about is kind of playing in the kitchen and being able to not necessarily have a structured recipe that they have to cook with. But again, the subscriptions are, if they fit your life, great. I think the meal plans are a different story. I think they put a lot of pressure onto people. I know everyone has a different personality and everyone has a different need. I think some people love more structure and some people, it stresses them out too much. But I think anything that gives you A through Z without giving some kind of flexibility within, in the long run won't help you. And I think people are too different to have a one size fit all meal plan. But again, I think it helps if you can structure it in a way where maybe one of your meals is completely structured. So it takes the guesswork out of that, but you're able to have flexibility in other things. It really depends on the person and how it fits into their life, in my opinion.
Yeah, you might see like meal prep done on Instagram where it looks like chicken, broccoli, rice. And then that's like prepped in these like containers for lunch for 7 days a week. That's when I think about like meal prepping, that's what I think of. Or when I think about like subscription meals, it's like, yes, you can get the pad thai, but every time you get the pad thai, there's nothing unique or different about it. It is a standardized recipe. So do you think that can lead to some like boredom with cooking? I mean, like, how can we get out of the box of boredom?
Yes, I definitely think it can lead to boredom, but I also think, and I come from, cooking from clients and seeing how they, cooking for them and also cooking for myself, me and my boyfriend. It's a whole different kind of ball game when I'm cooking for a client and then coming home and cooking for real life. But again, like we love having like a staple meal that we have every single week. And that will probably last for a month or two. And then that will kind of recycle through them. It's like we love, like I make grilled chicken with a salad or broccoli or something like that. We love broccoli. We love salad. But again, I switch up the marinade for the chicken. I switch up the toppings for the salad. I switch up the salad dressings. I think allowing yourself to have the general framework so it doesn't stress you out. So you always know in your grocery cart is going to be chicken, broccoli, and salad with, cooking grains or sweet potato or something like that. Even pasta has its place, different things. But I think switching up and giving yourself the freedom to have fun with simple things like a salad dressing that takes less than 5 minutes to make. Did that answer your question?
Totally. I love how you add like the spin on a standard meal. So it's not just the same salad with chicken as your staple meal. Even your staple meal incorporates some variety. There's something different. There's a different zest or a different air to it. And I think that is what takes us from like the monotony of the boring same old meals that we get in the package that really aren't. They can't offer that same creativity. Maybe there's something you can add or subtract from it to, switch it up a little bit. But I love how you said like, okay, if there's something that we could reroute from A to Z to create a different experience, I think that's what gives us kind of like the zest, because then Sarah, maybe it's like, oh, we can connect, like this thing worked. We like this. And isn't there a little bit of fulfillment that's like, ooh, when I added the sriracha to this thing, I created this whole different experience and I did that and I can create that again. Right? Like
absolutely. And I even love, my cooking style is very much like, okay, so I just made a chimichurri sauce. And for people that don't know that, it can be compiled of different things, but it's usually like a parsley, a jalapeno or serrano pepper, maybe some shallot, garlic, olive oil, red wine vinegar. But instead this time I put in arugula. I put in a jalapeno instead of a lot of people use maybe just chili flakes. I use that as a chicken marinade. I used that as a shrimp marinade. I use that as a salad dressing. I added yogurt to that to make a different kind of salad dressing or dip. There's just so many things that you can use. And that's why I might be getting ahead of myself, but I really push sauces and dips and spreads because, you know, if you are uncomfortable in the kitchen thus far, you know, and you really just like to say, okay, you know how to grill or sear chicken, you know how to roast or saute broccoli, but you are bored of that, or your significant or other is bored of that and they're complaining or whatnot. You can use these different things and different tricks and tips to kind of heighten each cooking experience without doing much more other than making that sauce for the week. And you can switch it up. I make pretty much the same 4 marinades, but I switch it for chicken, but I switch it up with my boyfriend. And each time he's like, this is my new favorite one. And I was like, I've made this 5 times before, but it recycles through it and it doesn't keep it monotonous, like you said. And I think people view meal prepping as plain chicken, plain brown rice, and plain broccoli without using like much flavoring. And like I said, herbs like in a sauce heighten things so much. Citrus zest, citrus juices, like there's so many things that you can just add in very simply to heighten these meals.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't, it just takes a little bit of learning, I think, for people. And like this might spark like, oh, I didn't even think of adding some yogurt to my marinade.
Right.
And making that into a salad dressing, you know, and switching it up. So I think it's just these easy switches to kind of spark some creativity in people that they can go and, you know, if they have a favorite marinade, just play around with it or, you know, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so excited because you are speaking within the workshop, my 6-month program, the workshop.
Yes.
You are coming in, I believe, in October. Like, I am so excited because in the workshop, you'll be giving us the flavors, you know, or some of these kind of combinations about like some of the sauces or dips that you kind of extrapolate. This chimichurri sauce sounds amazing, but it also seems like you've been able to even use that one sauce in many different ways. And I think that's where it's like, oh, like that maybe wasn't that much effort, but wow, did that make a huge difference?
Yeah.
And how that meal was prepared and enjoyed. And I think like those are the tricks that like we're just so thirsty for.
Yeah. I guess that tip, without even knowing it, was a little teaser for your workshop because, you know, like I said, I put the arugula in the chimichurri, like chopped it up or put it in my food processor. But also, I think people stress a lot about, you know, a lot of these recipes have maybe ingredients that they're not used to, or it's too out of their budget to like really buy everything within the set meal plan that they're trying to cook for. That chimichurri alone was about 3 meals. Plus, I used the arugula for the chimichurri and put it over an arugula salad. Like the marinade was on my shrimp and my chicken. And then I put it over the arugula salad because who doesn't have, if they buy salad, it go bad. Because if it's 1 or 2 people for that week, like sometimes like you buy something for a recipe and it goes bad because you only used it for that one time. So what I like to teach people and really urge people to do is like, how can you take that one ingredient and use it in different ways so it's used up, helps with food waste, but also is delicious in different ways for your week. And we'll definitely touch that on in the workshop, educational stuff like that.
It's totally a true thing. It's like, oh, you know, like either we're like trying to make this recipe or we're trying to just like, you know, be healthy in a different way. We buy all this produce and maybe there's like one recipe that we found on Pinterest for and we try it out. And then we use like a third of the bell pepper. We use a third of the lettuce bag.
Yeah.
And without kind of like knowing how to incorporate those ingredients into meals in other ways, they just sit. And so there's a different lack of education in that point. There's a different ability to get creative with different ways to use these same ingredients. So I think that's super wise. I hear that all the time. Alicia, I want to eat differently. I don't want to waste food because I don't want to waste money. And sometimes we're going to waste food. I think like that should be also like, I know that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's there's so much pressure and I put it on myself a lot too. So I understand that of, you know, we're all, the environmental stuff is so much on everybody's minds now, as it should be. But, you know, there's not a week that goes by that I don't have a limp carrot that I like that was in the bottom of my drawer. Or, I mean, what really helped me with that, like I said, is buying as little, I don't want to say as little ingredients as possible to start, but just so you see exactly what's in your fridge. So nothing's lost in there, and you use it up, you enjoy it, you eat it before it even goes bad. But again, that's a necessary kind of topic to bring up, because we really shouldn't have too much pressure on ourselves for that. Like, yes, you shouldn't be throwing out your whole fridge,
Right.
for sure. But it is very hard to use up every single ingredient that you use, or not get something lost in the bottom of your fruit or veggie drawer, or something get pushed completely in the back, for sure. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a pain point for a lot of people. And
we're grateful for the food. We've invested in the food. We want to be healthy and eat the food. We've got all the best intentions. And I think sometimes it's the thing that prevents us from getting creative. It's like the cost of creativity might be a bit of food waste. The cost of exploration might be a little bit of time and food and effort waste if it's just like a total flop of a meal. But I still think that that's worth it if we're allowing ourselves the opportunity to get into the kitchen and at least try. What do you think of that?
I agree. No, I agree. And even before we started talking on, this podcast alone in a separate conversation, I was telling you, like, we need to normalize mediocre meals. We need to normalize. I'm a personal chef. That is my profession. And I told you I burn things when I'm home cooking, not necessarily when I'm cooking for clients because I'm in the zone, but when I'm cooking at home, I get lost in emails. I step away from I find myself in those situations. So I understand completely where people come from with that, but I have to re-educate myself a lot and say to myself, like, focus on this, like, enjoy this, like, put your music on and have this designated time as your time in the kitchen and enjoy it. Sometimes I have to pencil that in, sometimes it's not, it doesn't come naturally, even to me that's in the profession always. So I think we need to normalize, just like a lot of things in our life, just sometimes it doesn't feel like, sometimes you don't want to cook. And some days it's okay. Some days it's okay to get takeout. Some days it's okay to schedule in your week to go out to dinner. But the reality of it is, like, once you get the basics down, like, for most people think that they don't enjoy cooking. But when you take a lot of the stress points away, cooking really is an enjoyable thing. But again, there's always dishes to be done, which is never enjoyable, in my opinion. But it's the reality of the experience, and we can discuss now or in the workshop kind of tips with cleaning and stuff like that. But again, you just have to kind of weigh what it means to you, and I think taking the pressure off of things really brings the joy back into the kitchen.
Yes. And I love how you said, like, blocking off time to explore and get creative. I think that time is something that so many of us lack. And so it's like, gosh, I don't have time to cook, when really it's like, I don't have the time because I don't believe in the return on my investment for the time. And that's when I think about everything. So if I cook a meal, what is my return on this investment? If I record this podcast, what is my return on this investment, right? My return on the investment, Sarah, is I get to be here with you and everybody here at the kitchen table. This is all I need. This is a great return on my investment. What is my return on my cooking investment? Well, we have to allow ourselves the opportunity to see what that looks like, to gain some momentum with it. Because do you think, like, if we just give ourselves that opportunity to try, taste kind of a little bit of that creativity or what that success looks like, do you think, like, naturally we'll want more of that? Like, when you receive a compliment for your food, or somebody says, oh my gosh, like your boyfriend says, like, oh, that's my favorite marinade. I don't know. I feel so loved.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, well, that's why so many people professionally start to cook. And that's why I don't want to say it's like a motherly thing sometimes, but that vibe of, it brings joy to put food on the table, not only nourish their bodies, but their souls, like the people around you. I love having people over for dinner, dinner party style. And I think the small wins, pretty much everything in life, but also with cooking, it makes you want to do it more. It makes you want to explore more. It makes you want to, and also the fails sometimes, if you put too much pressure on those, will make you not want to do it. But I urge people to kind of like push that aside and know that like from a professional, I mess up all the time. And I burned half the vegetable tray maybe a week ago. Whoops. Like I think that, we still ate half the veggies. We figured out something else to eat. And that was it. It's kind of like taking the pressure off. And, but like I said before, and I keep on bringing up the chimichurri, I know, but I think I use it as an example because, how you were asking about how meal prepping like looks different for everybody. I think meal prepping can look like meal prepping your meals for 5 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It could also look like literally just doing your grocery shopping, having like a few ideas of what you think you're going to make and making one marinade / sauce and playing with it. And also knowing you're going out on a Thursday night to go out to dinner. So don't buy too much for the Monday through Wednesday. It's kind of just playing with it and learning what fits best for you in those ways. But again, I have a ton of tips, more specific stuff, but
I mean, we could talk for hours about this stuff. I just came up with a million different questions, but I think you bring up another point, just kind of like wrap it back to the meal prepping and planning that we talked about. Like, again, it can't be a one size fits all approach because that takes all of the, flexibility out of it so much that like, hey, if you work late and the majority of people here with us at the kitchen table, they're hardworking women that don't have a lot of time that are like, oh my gosh, I want to cook more, but it's hard. There's a lot of commitment there. I never know what to do. Yeah. And so it's like, how could a meal plan like, and we also have probably this tendency to like go 0 to 100. So we want to go from A to Z. So the meal plan seems like the best way. Like it's just true. And so the thing of that is the reason that also doesn't work that you brought to the surface just right now is that like, it doesn't allow for us to like attune to our bodies and recognize how much energy we have to dedicate to the meal. It doesn't allow us the space to say, you know what, I'm too tired. We're just going to order in tonight. It's like, we bought the groceries, we're doing the thing, we're having the tacos on Tuesday. And it's like, wait, but of course we're going to hate that if we're not bringing our full selves to the cooking experience. Yeah. Where does that land with you?
I mean, it brings up with me, I'm just going to be very real and raw. Like some weeks I'm cooking nonstop for other people and then still have the pressure to come home and cook for my own family. Right. There's been times where I will come home and I like start crying while I'm cooking. Mm-hmm. And that's when order the takeout. Yeah. Like I know we're all trying to figure out the healthiest way for ourselves to be in this world and cooking is my focus. But what is healthier for me in those busy weeks is if I didn't pre-plan, which I always try to, but if I didn't, taking that pressure off and not like, don't get to a place like me where I'm crying over my broccoli. And so that's how I can relate to a lot of these women, I think, because not that they're crying over the broccoli, but that I too struggle with coming up with that. But there's so many things you can deal with meal prep, and you learn from those weeks that you are completely bogged down with all life's, let's call them adventures. But you can really learn from those weeks and the next week figure out what's best for you. But you have to like really have conversations with yourself, jot down some ideas. Like, what kind of person are you? What do you like more structure? Do you like more freedom? Do you like, every breakfast to be the same because that just starts your day and helps you? Yeah. Or do you want to experiment with different smoothies every morning and have different stuff on hand for that? You have to just really have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself what benefits you the most. Did that answer your question? I feel like I'm going off a little tangent. But.
It totally answers the question. And I think, throughout this whole conversation that we've had today, there's like 3 tiers to this that like, we just have, like, if we rolled out the red carpet for ourselves and gave us all of the options. We've got three main ones here. It's like, you can have it all starting off with, like you can have the chimichurri sauce, you can make the marinades, you can jazz up all your meals if you want, you can add the zest, you can add everything, and it doesn't have to be all that much work. It just takes a little experimenting, time, and maybe insight from a professional like Sarah. So we can have that. We can also normalize the monotony of the whole cooking experience and normalize mundane meals. So if it is not the zest, not the flavor, if it's just the chicken, rice, and broccoli, congratulations, you've done the chicken, rice, and broccoli. We're going to be good with that as well. It doesn't have to be Instagram perfect. And also, throw it all out the window, get takeout, right? So like, it's,
I think it's a great point, because that's the reality. Those 3 points are the reality of life, and because no one's weeks are the same. I know we were briefly talking about how, like, figuring out meals for your daughter and fitting it into meals with you and your husband, and like me having a different life, just me living with my boyfriend and us having different work schedules. And, I have the scheduling of some weeks I'm working completely from home, working on my stuff. Some weeks I am out 5-6 nights a week cooking for other families.
Sure.
So it's the flexibility and not saying to yourself, I need to always have 3 different sauces in the fridge, always have it stocked completely. But even the second option you said, like the broccoli, chicken, and rice, if you zest a little lemon and chop up a little parsley and put it in the rice, it's delicious. Put just a little more olive oil. It's like the mundane meals can be heightened, even if they're your staple meals, and they can be changed. And even if it's, you have wilty parsley in the fridge, chop it up and put it in something, like garnish it, make it look pretty, even if it's less than 5 minutes. But again, if you, like me, some nights randomly start to tear up when the thought of cooking even is there, don't put pressure on it. And I'm not saying that's always, like, just because you're like, I don't want to do it, don't do it. Sometimes we have to fight that a little bit. But again, don't cry over broccoli. Get takeout.
I thank you so much for that permission, because we need it. We do put the pressure on ourselves because we have these big nurturing hearts, and food is a way that we can just show each other love. And so I thank you so much for all of like the knowledge and insight that you shared in this, because I love when I even brought up that mundane meal, you're even stretching us to like do the little things. And we're just like, we're still hitting that roadblock. So I feel like those little things are going to be like the zest of the entire workshop. And I appreciate you being a part of it. And for everybody listening, the workshop is open for enrollment. It's open.
So exciting.
So yes. Sign up by the end of the day today. Sign up for the workshop. And you can apply by going to aliciabrownab.com/the-workshop to apply. And Sarah, I just want to like ask you, like, what is like your final tip for like the hardworking type A, like likes structure kind of woman to kind of ease up a little bit in the kitchen to kind of access that creativity and flow that you speak of? Because I think like that's a huge barrier for us. How can we just like offer ourselves the opportunity to totally mess up in the kitchen and have that be okay?
I think it's giving yourself, I think blocking off, if this is something that's truly important to you and you want to ease the pressure of cooking and you want to ease into it, I think really giving yourself and putting it in your calendar, because it sounds like these women like to, organize their calendars. Mm-hmm. So put it in your calendar and really designate some time to put on music that you like, clean your kitchen space and create like kind of heighten one recipe that you're used to making.
Yeah.
Like just putting some zest into brown rice, or I think just creating a space that's welcoming to joy, like welcoming for joy, like for the cooking process would be my tip.
I think that's what's really missing. And I think we both agree on that. I think like when I see my clean kitchen, that clean countertop, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a mess.
Yes.
And I'm gonna clean it up and I'm gonna do it all over again. That's where the
yes, but like you said too, like with the mess, that's a natural process of it. And
yes.
accounting for that as well, like, and knowing that you might not love that process, but that's why I said put some music on, enjoy it, don't have too many distractions
Right.
while you're starting out and kind of experimenting with things. Try one new thing. It doesn't have to be 5 new recipes in a meal plan. It can be, wow, I don't even know what a zester is, so let me buy a zester and put some zest in my brown rice and go from there. And you can use a zester for garlic. Then you can broaden so much from that one thing that you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it snowballs from there. But I think just starting small with this stuff, but giving yourself that space and that time to focus on that. Because when you don't focus on in the kitchen so much, you'll end up with half of a tray of burnt veggies like I do sometimes. So yeah.
It does take that focus, but again, the return on that investment, oh yeah, super satisfying.
Absolutely. Yes, very satisfying.
Sarah, everybody wants to learn more from you. They want to connect with you. They want to find you. Can you tell them how they could connect with you or potentially learn more?
Yes. So you can find me on my website at cookbakenourish.com, and my Instagram handle is the same, cookbakenourish.
With dots in between all of those words. Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. No dots.
No dots.
Okay. My mistake.
I don't think.
Okay. My mistake. Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate your time.
It was wonderful. And I'm really excited for all the speakers for your workshops. Your whole workshop in entirety is going to be so great. I know I'm going to learn a lot from it as well. So I'm excited to speak on everything conscious cooking as well.
We're going from mayhem to mindful with home cooking, with your inclusion in the workshop. And it's just really essential. It's mayhem. It's chaos. But I think
I'm marking that as a shirt. Mayhem to mindfulness. Love it.
My shirt's going to be normalize mundane meals. I love it. Sarah, thank you so much for being here today. Everyone else, hit subscribe if this show has meant anything to you in any way. Also, share this episode with any friend that you feel like you've just had a recent conversation with them maybe, and they just said, you know what? I hate cooking. I never know what to cook. I never know what to do. Maybe Sarah could share some insight with them as well. So share with them this podcast episode. Maybe they would learn something from it as well. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And we will see you back here at the kitchen table on Monday's episode.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.